addresses one of our own. And it's a special thrill for me to recommend to you your commencement speaker, Mr. Alton Brown. Alton.
Good evening. Congratulations to each of you. It's been a long road, I know. It took me about 20 years to graduate. I just graduated in 2004, actually, all because of a misunderstanding about a French credit. It was nothing. But I have to say that of the many, oh, by the way, 6 books. Thanks. 6. You can't expect these guys to get it all right. Anyway, I've been lucky enough to have a few honors in the, oh hush! In the last few years. Three of the greatest accomplishments that I feel that I've had. One was actually finally graduating from this university at the age of 43 years old. All I had to do was wait for them to lower their standards just a little bit. You know, it was 4 quarters of French. I only did 3, and then I just waited. And eventually they dropped it, and everything was over. Lesson to you all. One of the second greatest one was, of course, getting a Peabody Award, which was very unexpected. This, of course, handed out by the journalism school. A school which had denied me entrance in 1982. Again, I just had to wait for the standards to fall just a little bit. The other honor is actually, finally, for the very first time in my life, being in this stadium. I have never been here, because every game day and every graduation day when I was a student, I spent delivering pizzas, because that was the day that you got the most business. But that doesn't mean the graduation day wasn't important to me, it doesn't have a special place in my life. I remember very well, graduation 1984. I believe it was spring 1984, yes it was. I remember the shoes I was wearing. It was about an hour before the commencement, and I was called to deliver a pizza, large, pepperoni, mushroom, side of anchovies, which I always thought was interesting, to a large house not too far from campus, and all I'll say is that it had 3 Greek letters on the front of it. I knocked on the door, I was led to a room where a gentleman who seemed to be suffering from some kind of brain-altering experience. There was some malt liquor bottles present. Had been up obviously a very long time studying. Commenced to fumble about with his wallet, started to count out money, and vomiting all over my shoes. After said vomiting, he passed out. Not the story you wanted to hear, sorry. Now what was interesting about it for me is at the time, so I have vomit all over my red Converse high tops, which were not cheap back then. Cutting edge fashion. I've got the pizza, and there's this guy with his wallet open who's passed out in front of me. I was taking ethics at the time. And I decided to use this as a, you know, Humean kind of, I don't know, experiment. So the first thing is I decided, okay, I am going to leave the pizza, I'm going to take enough money for the pizza out of my wallet, including you know, the 35-cent delivery charge, which is what they charged back then. So I took the money, and I left the pizza, and I got about halfway to my car and decided, whoa, no, this isn't right at all, because in the world of ethics, I am placing no value on the shoes. So I went back upstairs, the pizza was still there, I decided to leave the pizza. I took all his money, and I eyed his stereo, but that would have been going too far. I got back down to the car and realized, wait, no, this is ethically also not correct. I cannot do this. I was really into this class. I went back up there, I put all the money back except the money for the pizza, and I changed shoes with him. Now what I hope is that one of your dads is up here going, oh, finally. It's my graduation story, thank you very much. Now I realize, and believe me, I'm going to be as short as I possibly can here because I know you all have you know, beers in the car. Oh, it's not fair. You got them with you directly under your rug. This isn't just for texting. I know that some of you or some of your parents have certainly thought, well, this is odd, isn't it? Having this TV, cable celebrity, because let's face it, at least 20% of you don't know who I am, so I'm not actually a celebrity, and 10% of you think I'm the president of Welch's Grape Juice. And by the way, I just made $1,000 for saying the word. Life is good. A lot of you are thinking, wait a second, this is a job for movers and shakers and policymakers, people of stature. We've got this theater graduate. Well, I want you to think about this a second. What are the odds that all of you are going to become movers and shakers, big world leaders? I'm sure there's probably a senator out there, but there's no rotten apple in every barrel. So I don't want to dwell on that. But the truth is, if our current cultural curve continues in its present direction, odds are, and I've done the math on this, 68% of you will in fact host your own reality cable shows. This is especially true if you can breed quickly, are festooned with body ink or piercings, those are good too, or if you make something that you can put the word monster in front of. For instance, a monster particle accelerator, monster Jane Austen thesis. All right, not everything, but you get the point. I'm also going to figure that at least 87% of you, whether you know it now or not, will work in the food service industry. Oh, yes, you will. So when you think about it, I'm the perfect speaker here because I've got both bases covered, and I can give you advice on either of these. And here it is. If you're going to go the celebrity path, get yourself a good lawyer. If you're going the food service route, good shoes, kids, with good arm support and a stout soul. Thank you very much. All right, no, not really. No. I have to actually fill 10 whole minutes. What's that? Good eats? Well, thank you. Yes. That's not water in that bottle, is it? No. When I found out that I was going to do this, I was immediately panicked, and so I looked up and read about 100 commencement speeches. Most of them are crap, as if, Hallmark cards written by Tolstoy. And I knew I didn't want to do that. The very best of them are loaded with slogans and bumper sticker aphorisms. Catchy little phrases that you can pull out and use in a moment's notice. That's the stuff that gets remembered, and so I'm going to base the entire rest of my speech on just such these slogans. I have put together, after examining my life, and by the way, I'm 47 years old. That's how quick that happens. You're sitting there now saying, no, not me. Yeah, you. So I've looked back over this amazing track of time, and I've come up with 10 honest-to-goodness truths that will never let you down. These are things I want you to think about as you go out of here today. And I figured that I'm never going to give another commencement for the rest of my life, so I might as well torture you with these, okay? But granted, I've been offered, okay? I mean, MIT was going to give me an honorary doctorate. But no, this school has to have those standards again. But if I waited 10 more years, I'd have it. Number one, I want you to always remember this. It is very difficult to find your car keys with a telescope. Why is this important? I want you to do this sometime. I want you to go to your apartment or wherever it is you live. I want you to have somebody hide your car keys. And I want you to take a telescope. It doesn't have to be a nice one. It can be a little cheap spyglass or even a camera with a telephoto lens. And I want you to set it on the longest end, and I want you to try to find your keys. Now, you know what your keys look like, right? I hope. And you know the lay of the land of your apartment, and yet it will be nearly impossible for you to find those keys. The reason this is important is because a lot of people in the exact same polyester death shrouds you're wearing go out in the world and they look at their life that way. They focus so intently on the success they think they ought to have that they miss their calling in life because they didn't have the right perspective. I spent years pursuing movie making in the film industry because I thought it was going to make me happy. And I slaved as a filmmaker. I used the education that I had here, which was a darn fine one, even though I didn't have the degree at the time or the honorary doctorate. But I thought movies. And you know what? If I hadn't have come around to my senses, I would have missed my actual calling, which turns out I'm actually a teacher. And it was only once I recognized that I found a way to make the films that really mattered to me. So do not treat your life that way. Everything that you do from now on, you've got to examine every opportunity.